Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Jamaica records a spike in COVID-19 cases and 7 more deaths. This story takes the lead in our 1064th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 9th March 2021. Details after this break.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. Jamaica has recorded its highest number of daily coronavirus COVID-19 cases with 723 reported across the island in a 24-hour period. The Ministry of Health in its latest update said this brings the total number of confirmed cases to 26,026. In addition, there were 7 additional deaths on Saturday, bringing the tally to 453. Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton, in commenting on the spike in cases, urged Jamaicans to follow the protocols to prevent the spread of the virus. Tufton told the Jamaica Observer newspaper that the public health system is faced with a crisis as it continues to battle the pandemic. He was making reference to a spike in the number of cases on Friday, when it was reported that over 500 people had tested positive. The virus is rampant in the population in almost every community across the country, and in fact, very worryingly, the trend suggests that it will get worse before it gets better. The Minister of Health also said that he will be taking the latest numbers to the cabinet, where he will point the impact the pandemic is having on the public health system. In other news, PNM Tobago Council political leader Tracy Davidson Celestine says members of the public have raised concerns with her over the possibility of PDP leader Watson Duke becoming finance secretary. This comes on the heels of PDP's power sharing proposal to break the 6-6 January 25th election deadlock. More from TV6's Elizabeth Williams.
PNM Tobago Council political leader Tracy Davidson Celestine told members of the media, despite the PNM being surprised by the proposal brought forward by the PDP on Wednesday, the PNM remains open to discussions with the PDP. She said the PNM Tobago Council will be meeting on Monday to discuss the proposal and the way forward. She spoke with members of the media during the site visit of the $30 million Bacalet indoor sporting facility on Friday. The details of the PDP's power sharing proposal include the PNM having the positions of presiding officer and chief secretary, the PDP having the position of deputy chief secretary and secretary of finance, along with 2 of the 3 councillors. All other remaining secretaries' positions to be split down the middle.
Most persons who have contacted me have said to me, we will not be in support of the Secretary of Finance position going to the PDP, especially if the Secretary would be Watson Duke. And so that has been the concerns raised by members of the public at this point in time.
Davidson Celestine said the Executive Council will meet on Monday to discuss the PDP's proposal.
Well, we meet on Monday, I think it's Monday around 4 or 5 o'clock, with the executive to discuss the proposal as put forward by the PDP.
She said on Wednesday night she received the PDP's proposal.
I have since acknowledged receipt of the proposal. Yes, in writing, because I would have requested it in writing, so that we have a formal document from which to start those discussions. And I indicated to Farley and to Watson that we need at least 1 week to get back to them, so we are still within that time frame.
She sought to debunk any notion that the PNM rejects the power sharing proposal of the PDP.
Indicates that I reject the proposal of the PDP, and that is not very accurate. I've been saying that we are very open to collaboration and very open to discussion.
She said the initial take it or leave it option placed on the table by PDP leader Watson Duke was rejected by the PNM.
Watson said at the meeting, we are putting forward this idea and take it or leave it, and you have to decide before we leave the halls of the Magdalena. And I said to him, no, we're operating in a very formal organization. We're talking here about the future and the interest of the people of Tobago, and it's not a situation where it's about take it or leave it and us accepting something from you via word of mouth.
She said the PNM has been consistent in their proposal of going back to the polls.
The only thing is that we are about putting a short-term plan of action aside, and of course focusing now on the medium and the longer term, which is to work with all parties to ensure that we can advocate and escalate the discussions and the bill on the Tobago's economy.
Speaking to the pre-action protocol letter against the PDP deputy political leader Farley Augustine, following statements he made about Davidson Celestin on the campaign trail on the now controversial zipline project.
Well, the matter is in the hands of my lawyers, and I hope that by this week we could have some word on where exactly, or the status rather, of the pre-action protocol letter.
Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Over in St. Lucia, Emma Hippolyte appeals for more support for unemployed men in that country. Gina Felipe of HTS News Force reports.
The pandemic is affecting the ability of men in Soufrière to provide for their families. SLP candidate for Soufrière for Sejac, Emma Hippolyte, claims that men in the community are definitely feeling frustrated as they are unable to care for their children. According to Hippolyte, Soufrière is known as the island's touristic capital, and the slump in the sector has not augured well for the job market. She sees the need for more support for men struggling amid the pandemic.
So I want to say again, thank you all of St. Lucia for supporting the unemployed young men of Soufrière, the unemployed fathers, and let us show them that we care about them. Because when you speak to these young men, it's the first time, I guess, they do not have money and they cannot bring something at the table. And they are reacting with a lot of anger. And I guess it's the fear of not knowing what is there tomorrow. That is not my area of specialty, but we really need to give them some support.
In May 2020, Hippolyte helped organize a telethon for unemployed mothers and children in need. She says she decided to host her second drive in February 2021, but this time with the focus on jobless men and fathers.
What we found was the young men chastised me and continue saying, and Gemma, you have focused on the ladies, you have not focused on us. And I told them that I was going to try. I know they too are going through their own challenges. Some of them, not only are they unemployed, but they also have children. So we did this. This year we felt 14th of February, Independence Day, was a good time to try to cause St. Lucians to share the love.
The first telethon raised some $100,000 and saw over 3,000 mothers and children benefiting from the event.
We kept our word and distributed it via, some people gave pledge in-kind donations. So we did a small hamper and we gave parents the first distribution, small hampers and $100 vouchers, 2 vouchers of $50 each. We were able to touch over about 1,200 mothers, so because we went twice, and about 2,400 kids.
The pledges for Soufrière's second telethon now stand at $35,000, with over $20,000 collected thus far. Persons are urged to continue to donate to the GoFundMe and the Bank of St. Lucia account 104-530522. Gina Filippi, HTS News 4.
Following an incursion of Guyana's airspace on Tuesday, Minister of Foreign Affairs Hugh Todd met with U.S. Secretary of Western Hemisphere Affairs Julie Chung to discuss the way forward on the disturbing issue. More from HGP's Wendell Badri.
According to a release from Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, the aircraft seen in this video is one of two Venezuelan Sukhoi Su-30 fighter jets which overflew the community of Etteringbank, Region 7, and the airstrip at a very low altitude of 1,500 feet on Tuesday. The fighter jets circled the location once before proceeding in an easterly direction. This violation of Ghana's airspace prompted Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister, Hugh Todd, to dispatch a note of protest to Venezuela via its ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Luis Edgardo Diaz Moncluz, who registered his disappointment in hearing of this development. Meanwhile, in another release from Ghana's Foreign Affairs Ministry on Thursday, it was stated that Minister Todd met virtually with the Acting Assistant Secretary in the Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs of the United States of America, Julie Chung, where the matter was discussed among other areas of concern. The release expressed the view that Chung voiced her optimism for continued enhanced relations between Ghana and the United States, where she also underscored that the Biden administration is focused on democracy, values, human rights, and climate change, among other commonalities which the US and Ghana share. In a subsequent release dispatched by the People's Power Ministry for Foreign Relations of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, that country responded by claiming that, and I quote, Guyana is on a repeated defamatory and victimization campaign before the international community against Venezuela, end quote. The Venezuelan ministry in the release further stated that Guyana is making an unfounded accusation based on videos published in social networks without providing the precise and geo-referenced location of the area in question. Meanwhile, this newscast spoke with former Minister of State Dawn Hastings-Williams, who hails from Region 7, where the fighter jets were spotted. She's adamant that the government should be more proactive in its approach to such matters.
I am hoping, and my wish is that we be more proactive on what is happening and up to update the country, the citizens of this country, on a regular basis of exactly what is happening and what we are going to do as a nation about this.
Hastings-Williams highlighted that there are mixed feelings among the residents in her region following the sighting of the fighter jets.
And because of this communication that's not happening between, the persons who are in authority to relate to the citizens what is happening and updating them, I think that is somewhat confusing, and the people are without guidance at this moment. Most of them, they're living in fear.
In January, prior to the recent incursion of Ghana's airspace by Venezuelan military, at least 2 fishing vessels along with their crew were detained in Ghana's maritime space, as that country claimed that the vessels were in Venezuelan waters and were also engaged in illegal fishing activities. Those vessels were subsequently released and escorted back into Ghana's waters. The 2 neighboring countries are currently before the International Court of Justice, seeking settlement to the border controversy, which dates back to the 1800s. Wendell Badri, HGP Nightly News.
Calling all vehicle owners. Inspection and licensing continues, and at Hubbard's we want you to be ready. From February 16th to March 31st, registration numbers 2,501 to 5,000 with single registration letter, or registration numbers 251 to 500 with plural registration letters will receive 11% off new torque tires and PowerMax batteries. Don't get caught unprepared. Visit us today at the Motor Department in Mount Gay or the Tire Bay in Grand Anse near to the building supplies.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.